In this century, the majority of the world's populations will be living in and around cities. Such rapid growth in urban populations, especially in Southeast Asia, is leading to increasing pressures on their infrastructure and resources. This video is an output from the EC-funded PAPUSSA project and gives an overview of the importance and future of cultivating edible aquatic plants in 4 Southeast Asian cities. Communities in each of these cities are utilizing water, often urban wastewater, as a valuable source of nutrients to grow significant quantities and values of aquatic plants as foodstuffs for their growing populations. This is providing employment and incomes for many lower-income urban households, whilst also recycling wastes and maintaining a green and natural environment within these cities. Bung Chung Ek is a large 3,400 hectare lake located 5 kilometers from the center of Phnom Penh, the capital of Cambodia. It receives 80% of the city's untreated wastewater, which flows through the lake and eventually out into 2 local river systems. The Japanese development agency JICA provided the funding for the construction and installation of the pumping system plus feeder channels. Although some larger types of waste are removed, the water flowing into the lake is primarily untreated sewage. The lake itself, although large in area and a natural wetland, is increasingly being encroached upon by surrounding urban development, particularly the growing number of factories being built. Many households who live on the edge of the lake are involved in the cultivation of morning glory, also commonly known as water spinach, which is a popular and daily constituent of Phnom Penh people's diets. Large areas of the lake are divided up into rented plots of morning glory, which for many local households is their main source of income. Cultivation and harvesting of morning glory is almost always a family or household activity, and since it requires relatively little capital for starting up, can be carried out by lower income households. Production occurs throughout the year, although poorer quality water and reduced levels in the dry season tend to lower the amount that the growers can sell. Also, the quality of the product itself can decline in the dry season, which results in some of the production being sold off for livestock, normally pig feed. Marketing of morning glory can involve the farmers selling directly to people by the lakeside, which has the benefit of providing fresh product to the consumer. However, in many cases, the farmers sell to middlemen whose role is to collect and then transport the morning glory to city markets, where the plants are cleaned and trimmed into bundles, which are then attractively presented and sold to the consumer. The PAPUSSA project has also been studying the health and hygiene aspects of morning glory production and sale in Phnom Penh, in relation to both the consumer as well as the occupational health of those farmers working daily in contact with wastewater in the lake. Our findings so far show heavy metal levels in the plant tissues to be well within acceptable levels for safe human consumption. However, far more research still needs to be carried out in this area. Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam is a growing city of over 5 million inhabitants, located within the tidal ranges of the Mekong River Delta. In surrounding peri-urban districts of the city, there is considerable production of aquatic plants, most notably water mimosa, as is shown here, as well as also morning glory. Although supplementary chemicals and fertilizers are used, this production is again based on using urban wastewater. Water mimosa is a popular and nutritious food for Ho Chi Minh City citizens, which generally commands a higher price in the markets than morning glory. The cultivation of this plant is again a family affair, with husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, all tending to work together. The mimosa plants are grown on average in 2,000 metre square ponds, and in conjunction with another floating aquatic plant, duckweed. Wastewater is fed into the ponds either by gravity or pumped from a diffuse network of wastewater channels. Van Kin has been growing water mimosa for 5 years since migrating with his family to the city from Bac Giang province, North Vietnam, where he was originally a rice farmer. His wife, daughter and brother work with him growing mimosa, and they rent 8,000 metre squared pond area. Depending on the seasons and weather, they harvest on average 50 to 60 bundles of mimosa per day, and he estimates they earn 50 million Vietnamese dong, about $3,150 per year from the plants. He says that he doesn't have any major problems with growing mimosa and will continue with it in the future. Morning glory is also grown in considerable amounts in peri-urban districts of Ho Chi Minh City. It too utilises urban wastewater from the city's network of wastewater canals. Min Toi has been farming morning glory with her family for 6 years now, before which they used the land for growing rice. She earns about 600,000 Vietnamese dong per month from her smaller 1,000 metre square field. Her main problem is high water salinity in the dry season, which sometimes can kill the plants. She will continue to grow morning glory until the government plan for building a new road on the land is implemented in 2 to 3 years' time.
Còn bệnh rau cô? Thì bệnh rau thì thấy bệnh là bắt đầu mua thuốc xịt. Mà nó có bệnh nhiều hơn mấy năm trước không cô? Thì nó cũng vậy thôi chứ cô không có nhiều hơn. Thì nó thẳng là nó cũng trung bình thôi chứ cô không gì.
During the harvesting and processing of morning glory, nothing is wasted. Leaves and stems are collected and used for feeding fish in local fish ponds. Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, with a growing population of 3 million, is affectionately known as the City of Lakes. Development in the city manifests itself increasingly in residential and industrial construction projects. However, amongst this building boom, local people continue to grow and earn a living from aquatic plants. In Hanoi, almost exclusively using wastewater. Similar to Ho Chi Minh City, certain peri-urban districts and communes in Hanoi specialize in growing aquatic plants, using land which was formerly used for growing rice, as farmers realized they could make higher incomes per unit area growing aquatic plants. Farmers in Bang Bi village pump urban wastewater from the Tor Lik River, one of the city's 5 wastewater rivers. This is normally pumped 2 to 3 days per week, depending on the season, and is supplied to the fields through a series of brickwork channels. Both the increasing number of factories with their associated effluents, as well as the increasing use of chemicals by the farmers, can potentially lead to problems in the future. Increasingly, farmers in Hanoi are rotating their production by growing water dropwort and watercress in the colder winter months. These two species command good prices in the market, as well as growing more rapidly at lower temperatures compared to morning glory and water mimosa. My name is Lu Hong Lam, and I was born and grew up in Bang Bi village, Hoang Let commune, Tan Tri district, Hanoi. I have been growing aquatic plants here for 10 years now. My main occupation is growing morning glory, water mimosa, water dropwort and watercress. I do have some problems with growing aquatic plants, most notably that the quality of the wastewater we use is increasingly polluted, causing diseases and reduced growth in the plants. Also, it makes it difficult for us when prices in city markets for aquatic plants vary so much throughout the year, which means at certain times of the year my weekly income is quite low. However, the main benefit I get from growing aquatic plants is that it is my main source of income, and I hope that in the future the area where aquatic plants are grown will increase. Also, I hope that more research is done to help farmers to achieve more stable incomes.
Ngành rau nước này sẽ mở rộng nhiều hơn và sẽ nghiên cứu làm sao được coi là để cho người nông dân chúng tôi thu nhập được ổn định hơn.
One of the main advantages of growing aquatic plants is that once in production, the plants can be harvested every 30 to 45 days due to rapid regrowth of the stems. This means that farmers can benefit from high productivity levels per unit area of land. compared to other peri-urban crops, such as rice or even fish culture. Similar to Ho Chi Minh City, water mimosa, although more difficult to grow, gets higher prices in Hanoi markets compared to Morning Glory. Once harvested, the plants, in this case Morning Glory, are washed and cut into bundles. They are then transported to local wholesale and retail markets, often by motorbike. Again, this is often a family business, with the husband taking the plants to the market on his motorbike. The plants are either sold directly to the city's two main wholesale markets, or as shown here, to the local street retail markets, where demand is always high. Although the majority of aquatic plants are still sold in local markets, supermarkets in Hanoi are beginning to have an influence on potential customers, with aquatic plants now readily available on their shelves. Bangkok could be considered the most developed of our 4 PAPUSSA study cities, with a population of 9 million if all peri-urban areas around the city are included. Unlike the other cities, Bangkok has a system of canals which were originally built for transportation and irrigation, and it is primarily these that are used as a source of wastewater for aquatic plants production. The canals themselves are also used by some peri-urban communities for growing aquatic plants in more extensive low-input type systems, in this case as shown water mimosa. However, the majority of Bangkok's aquatic plant cultivation is carried out in more intensive production systems, using considerable chemical and fertilizer inputs. These areas of intensive Morning Glory and mimosa production tend to be located 25 to 30 kilometers from the center of the city. Aquatic plants are transported to the city's main privately owned wholesale markets by either pickup or truck, with the bundles normally being pre-packed in polythene. This role of transporting the plants is sometimes carried out by the farmer, but normally through a specialist middleman. One of the city's two main wholesale markets, Dalatai Market, receives between 80 and 100 tons of aquatic plants each and every day of the year. Morning Glory, water mimosa and water lily are the 3 most important aquatic plants ranked in order of sales volumes, with the main customers being retail market traders, restaurants, canteens, mobile traders, and increasingly Bangkok supermarkets. Some aquatic plants are also sold to other provinces outside the central region, such as Phuket and Chonburi, for the hotel and tourist trade. It is estimated now that 20% of the aquatic plants sold in Bangkok's wholesale markets are now going to supermarkets, where they're attractively and hygienically presented at competitive prices for the consumer. Packaging and food safety certification are becoming more common in adding value to the products, with Bangkok consumers being prepared to pay a premium for aquatic plants certified chemical-free in their production. Through the Thai government's Safer Food campaign, consumers are increasingly aware of the health risks of chemical residues in their food. In response to this changing demand, certain farmers are interested in becoming involved in more organic, chemical-free production of morning glory. The PAPUSSA project has set up a trial comparing the conventional, high-input chemical system of growing morning glory with a chemical-free system using poultry waste as fertilizer and fish in the ponds to act as biological controls for removing pests from the plants. This trial is ongoing, with our findings being published at a later date. Booncherd Condon started growing morning glory in 1993, converting land from former rice culture. In recent years, he has begun to grow organic, chemical-free land vegetables, since he can get higher prices in the newer supermarkets. He would like to further explore the market for chemical-free morning glory production and is pleased with his trial so far. He says he can also make supplementary income from the snakeskin gourami fish, which are currently being grown in the trial with the morning glory. Like most of Bangkok's aquatic plant growers, Booncherd Condon cuts and packs his morning glory into polythene bags. This is to ensure that a fresh and hygienic product reaches the market. The added cost of doing this for him in terms of labour and materials is minimal, whilst it adds value to the product and correspondingly increases his income. Morning glory and mimosa are particularly commonly cooked and eaten in canteens and restaurants throughout Bangkok. Increasingly, they are for sale in relatively low-priced, fast food type outlets, which are particularly popular with the city's younger population. In the restaurant and tourist trade, aquatic plants are popular and can be cooked in a variety of dishes. Here, morning glory has been shredded and then deep fried to produce an attractive and healthy dish. So what of the future for aquatic plant production in our cities? From our findings from the PAPUSSA project, we can conclude that, firstly, they are producing substantial quantities of relatively low-cost food for the city's growing populations. Secondly, they provide incomes and employment for a large number of the often less well-off peri-urban households.
Cô trồng rau dúc ở đây được bao nhiêu năm rồi cô hả? Trồng năm nay 2 năm. 2 năm. Cô là người ở đây hay là
However, their future is now under threat from urbanization, pollution, and the increasing pressures on land use.
Ở đây là công mấy à? Công mấy hả cô? Là mọi 800-900 ngàn. Nếu mình trừ chi phí khoảng mấy trăm ngàn cô? Khoảng trăm mấy à? Trăm mấy. Là mình còn cũng được 600-700.
In many cases, aquatic plants are being grown using urban wastewater as a major and cheap source of nutrients. However, can we effectively and safely recycle wastewater to produce this food for our cities? What needs to change for this to become a reality? Well, firstly, the PAPUSSA project has tried to bring together a wide range of stakeholders in a process of dialogue, at times getting these different people together for the first time in the same room. From these participatory meetings, learning and understanding how each stakeholder group views peri-urban aquatic plant production, each from their own perspective. From this dialogue, recording their views, benefits, constraints, and future recommendations for growing aquatic plants in and around our cities. For this process to be effective, it is vital that a wide range of stakeholders are invited and taking part. Farmers, local administrators, markets and supermarkets, health, hygiene and food safety, sewage and irrigation, as well as urban planners and policy makers. Each of their findings and recommendations are then presented back to the whole meeting for further discussion and understanding, thus initiating a platform for dialogue, a way forward towards policy change and future urban planning. This whole process can lead towards a scene something like this in the future, where the city, people, aquatic plants, food production and the environment can all live harmoniously together for each other's benefit.